Hello everyone. I just created this channel. This is my first video and my name is Ammar. I'm from Syria originally. I started this channel kind of to keep a log for myself and for my children, and if anyone is interested in hearing my story. So basically I just want to tell my story. And I will be speaking about my life, how I grew up, how was my experiences, and maybe I'll have a lot of opinions about stuff in different topics. So maybe every once in a while I will share my opinion on a story. So basically, the name of the channel is Amarant, and I just want Amma is ranting about different stuff. The first video in this video I will be speaking about the first steps of, or like the first memories of Syria, kind of how I grew up and realizing that I was living in a dictatorship. Um, I had a pretty nice childhood actually, even though it was in Syria. I grew up in a lower middle class family in Syria, which means like globally pretty poor. And I had a loving parents, loving brothers, and I just lived a really nice childhood. A lot of playing with my cousins, with my friends, and as a child, you just kind of get adjusted to your surroundings. You don't really question them. But as soon as you grow up, you kind of start noticing some patterns. You kind of start noticing some things. So for me, living in a place where we had only one president, where we cannot question the authority, where we had to mention his name in every occasion, where his statues and photos everywhere were kind of just the normal thing for me. I didn't realize there is any other way of living life. And I grew up thinking that Hafiz al-Assad, which was the father of Bashar al-Assad, was actually a really good president, that we actually love him, that he is doing everything for us right, and we should be very thankful. And you have your parents telling you that you need to do that, everyone around you, no one dares otherwise. So for me, it was just the normal thing. Um, and that's until I started school. In schools, we have every day, like kind of every week in the morning on the start, where we had like this standing before we start classes. We used to stand in rows and just like listen all the stories about the party of Syria. It's called Al-Ba'ath Party, and how good it was, and all the achievement that he brought to us, and how we are like fighting these people and that, and how we are like very strong, and blah blah blah, and how the president was amazing. And we used to like shout like, yeah, go, or like, our leader forever, we love you. And we had like some songs, like it's called like this party songs. And this was the norm. I didn't really think of it in I didn't think that it's weird in any way. um, and then around 2000, yeah, around year 2000, Hafiz al-Assad, the father, died, and his son came to power, Bashar al-Assad, the latest asshole. And it was for us, like we were supposed to be sad. I don't know, everyone was crying on the TV. It was like days off. I was supposed to be sad. I wasn't because I didn't even know the guy, but like everyone was like telling like that you should be sad, you should be crying. Our great leader, our great savior passed away. And I just couldn't be sad. I just couldn't feel sad, but I knew that I should. And then his son took power, just like that. No, nothing, like we didn't have any procedures, anything. What we knew that uh, Hafiz al-Assad is gone, and now Bashar al-Assad is there. And for me, it was really weird because I was, I think, 9 years old, and I went to school. and we had like all this slogan that we always said, like our leader forever, President Hafez al-Assad. And I was just remembering standing there, but like we used to say it pretty much like every day or every week, that it was just like ingrained in our memory. So I was standing in this row in the morning, and it's time like we said like the anthem for Syria, and we said all like these slogans of the party, and eventually always it was like, who is our leader forever? The immortal Hafiz al-Assad. And we said like immortal Hafiz al-Assad, and then the teachers came to us like, no, no, don't say that anymore. And I was like, okay, I don't know, weird change of pace, but I guess we don't say that anymore. And actually, it kind of took like around 3 or 4 weeks to roll out this our leader Hafiz al-Assad until we kind of okay, we don't have this slogan anymore to say. But up until then, I didn't really realize that I was living in a dictatorship. For me, it was just like a normal country, like any other country that functioned. And at that time, we didn't really have satellite. We only had like two TV, and we didn't have internet, and two state-sponsored TV. So I didn't really realize that it was weird, that it was strange. Um, and then I remember one of my first conversations with my mother when I started noticing there is something weird about us. So I was like speaking to my mom, and she was like telling me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was like still not sure about one to, but I said, told her like maybe I would like to be a president. She was like, "No, Amma, you never say that. Like we have a president, and he's good, and we don't want anyone else." And I said like, "But why? Why can I be president?" She said like, "It's not job for anyone, and we have the perfect president, and we don't want anyone else, and that's what you should always say." And for me, that was kind of weird because my parents never really told me you couldn't dream to be this or you couldn't aspire to be this. And the way my mother reacted so carefully and so scared, it was kind of like a bring that, but I didn't question it that much. The time that I properly realized I was around 13 years old or maybe 12 years old, and I was in school. And we had this subject, it's called the National Socialist Science, something like that, which might sound super weird for Germans, but we had this. And it was basically a book where we learn about all this, how the party came to power, which was all lies, all bullshit, and why president was good and how he overtook all the corrupt governments before him, and how he like this party created all these projects that made Syria great, and how we were fighting enemies and winning, and it was like pretty much like propaganda subject. And all our notebooks, it was mandated by the school, and it had the photo of the father, the son, the other son, the trinity of Syria. And she's like Hafiz al-Assad, Basil al-Assad, and Bashar al-Assad. Hafiz al-Assad was the father. He was the OG dictator. Basil al-Assad was the plan to be dictator, but luckily for us, he died in a car accident. Died, I think, no one knows, like kind of they really covered this subject. And Bashar al-Assad, the stupid son who came from England, who didn't have any of that in mind, but when his brother passed away or died, um, he was like planned to be president. He was planned to be president, but at that time, like we had like this photo of like the three on our notebook, and that was like just bored because this subject is always like the same, blah blah blah, the correctional movement, the dams they built, the accomplishment they did. It was just like so boring and annoying for me. So I started like just doodling like on their like sketching on their photo, and like I added some mustaches for them and like I don't know some ears. And then the teacher was like passing around between the classes, and he came to me and he saw the doodling on my notebook, and he saw that and he was like, Amal, but if anyone else see that, you, your family, your brothers, everyone that you love, everyone that you know will disappear forever. So I mean, like at that point, I didn't know that he was scaring me, but he did me like a great favor. He told me, as soon as the class finish, you hide this right now. You don't show anyone. You hide this as soon as class finish. You go behind the school or like somewhere where no one sees you. Burn this and make sure no one ever sees that. And for me, like a 12-year-old child, I was scared. I was like, what did I do? Like I was just drawing. You see that all the time. Like I don't know, you add mustache to some people like on photos. It's never that thing. But like for that, it was like really, really serious. And then I started realizing there's something off about our situation. Kids shouldn't be scared to draw mustache on someone. Anyway, I went back and I spoke to my father. I told him this happened, and he told me, Ammar, never do that again and never speak of it again. The walls have ears. This was something that always was said in Syria. The walls have ears. The walls have ears. And I mean, at that time, I just like got really afraid. I stopped speaking about this subject to anyone, even to my parents, even to my mom and dad, and I forgot about it. Later, around 14 years old, I passed my ninth grade, which is a big thing in Syria. And as a gift, my father got us a computer. And this computer was pretty much my first window to the outside world. We used to have like this dial-up connection that was like really slow, but and we used to have like cards that give you like I don't know a few hours of internet, and also that's the time when we started having satellite TV. And then I was like watching a lot of movies about the US. Like that's how I actually learned my English. I was really crazy about American movies, American series. I loved them and I loved watching them. Also American media in general. And I was watching a lot of movies, a lot of series, and just seeing that then like kind of gave me a perspective of the outside world, how there is election and the president can change, and that people can like talk bad about the president and they are not scared for their family. And yeah, pretty much that was the first moments where I started learning that we are living in a dictatorship. If I had known at that time what life was hiding for me in the future, I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't have changed anything. I couldn't have changed anything anyway. But yeah, this is my first video, my first try. I am very nervous and I sound super weird, but I'll try to edit it to remove all the ums and the ahs and the ands. And it's also getting a little bit dark. Um, yeah, so if anyone watched, thank you, and maybe another videos where I tell the rest of the story and how the war started happening, when the revolution happened, how excited we were, and how long it was, and the price we had to pay as Syrian, and then me leaving and trying to figure out my life outside. So yeah, a lot of things. I'll speak about them in the next videos.